Welcome to Oil Painting with Photoshop. We're going to go and get an image of some sort and we're going to paint over it so it looks like an oil painting. You'll need to decide what sort of image you're going to paint over and then open that in Photoshop. Throughout this video, if you get stuck or you lose your place, stop the video, go back and replay that section. Don't try and do it all at once. Try and do a little bit, stop, do a little bit, stop, until you get the hang of it. There's quite a lot of information in here, but the first thing you're going to need to do is get an image and open it and in Photoshop. Having done that, you'll see now I've got an image called Scotty. There's my Scotty image. It's called background in this case. When I double click on it, I can rename it and it will unlock it. So I'll rename that as Scotty and go OK. And the next thing I'm going to do is, well, there's the lock. Before we lock it though, we're just going to reduce the opacity to, 95% or something like that. So it's a little bit transparent, and when we paint over it, you'll get a more effective idea of what the paintings look like. Then I'll lock the image. The next thing I'm going to do is create a transparent layer above that image, and that will be the layer I paint on. Now I need to find some paint brushes. There's a brush tool here. If you do a right-hand click, you'll get the choices. The mixer brush is the one we're after. Now mine's already the brush that I want to use, but I'm going to show you how to get that brush and how to get a number of other brushes. If I do try and paint, so if we go up to Window and choose Brushes, there's also brush settings. They're in the same basic area. In brushes, we're going to, well, let's have a look at the brush settings for the moment. The one I've got, Kyle's wet brush, but you'll see that there's a whole lot of different brushes that you can switch between. Now, you don't have to accept the standard sizes either. You can change the sizes once you've got the brush. You can see there, you can increase the size, you can decrease the size. You can change the angles of the brushes. There's quite a lot you can do with the brush to get something that you want. For the moment though, we'll go to brushes. You'll see wet media brushes, which is what we want. And if we go down, we'll find Kyle's Real Oils. There's a round brush. That's a general sort of oil paint brush. Just double clicking on that. That means that's the brush that you're going to select. So we've now chosen our brush. You can see there the brush size. If you hold the bracket, I'll just make that go away for a second. The bracket, the square bracket, the right-hand side increases the brush size, the left-hand side decreases the brush size. So you can move the brush size very quickly with the keyboard. And there's my brush there. Now it's not quite the colour I want. So I need to clean that, but before I do that, I'll do a few other things. There's the cleaning brush after each use. It's already set up custom, but there's a range of other choices there. Let's clean this brush so it's blank. There's this tool here which does the airbrush style build-up effects. You can use it, but what is important is you sample all layers, because then it pulls the image from underneath. We'll leave that for the moment. You can see it's dragging some of that all right already. It's quite a large brush though. That's quite a bit too big for the moment. Really useful for big areas like skies. If I decrease it now, I'm zooming in, which is Command plus, and that's a useful thing to do. Command plus to zoom in, Command minus to zoom out. Now, with my paintbrush, it's quite a small paintbrush. I'm painting away here. You can see I'm just playing around at the moment, painting some small bits. Probably a bit big for what I want. I might have to decrease that paintbrush, and you can see it's dragging some other sections of the painting in. What I also want to do is clean the brush after each use. Not load it, clean that, which is this button here. So I click on that button, and now when I start painting, it will clean the brush every time I click and restart. Now I'm zooming ahead here, going double speed. You can see what I've been doing. Don't worry about being too messy. Use small brush for details, big brush for large areas. Sometimes when you finish the painting, the messier it is in parts, the better it actually looks. Zoom out, have a regular look, zoom back in. Try and give it some artistic effects as you're going through it. You might want to experiment with different brushes, perhaps a drier brush or a brush with some light mix or something like that for doing the hair. You can see there I'm just using a slightly different brush for this part here and just filling it in slowly, just trying to mix it up a little bit too. And with a bit of practice you'll get quite good at this. It is a process, and there's my finished product. Slightly different from that one, but you can see there I've filled in all the other things. Lastly, you can add some effects. There's a bevel and emboss. You can add texture or smoothing, different sizes, adding a bit of a bevel, just gives it a look like an oil painting really. Fiddle around with that if you want and try some different ideas. You can always undo, Command Z, very useful tool. Go forth and enjoy. Thank you for listening.